right. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. We're just going to give a couple seconds since it is 12 o'clock on the dot right now. Let everyone log in. Thank you for joining us today. Happy March 11th already. Oops, sorry. All right, well, I don't want to waste too much time since this is a quick 30 minutes. So we are going to go ahead as people log in. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andrea Young. I am ECAC's communications lead. And today I'm happy to have with us Brittany Cutshaw, who is the ECAC North Carolina DeafBlind Project lead and co-director of the North Carolina DeafBlind Project. She has a few people here with her today, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Brittany so she can introduce her team.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Hi, everybody. I am Brittany Cutshaw, co-director and co-lead of the North Carolina DeafBlind Project. I have Nancy Gerardo here with me today. She is our family engagement coordinator here at ECAC, and I will allow her to go ahead and introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Brittany. My name is Nancy Gerardo, and I'm a DeafBlind Family Engagement Coordinator for the DeafBlind Project here in North Carolina. I have a child that's 7 years old with vision and hearing impairment, also nonverbal. And so glad you are here with us today.
Thank you, Nancy. And our co-presenter today is Dr. Alan Chase. Alan, if you wanted to come on and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Brittany. Hello, everyone. So I am Dr. Alan Chase. I am also one of the co-directors of the North Carolina DeafBlind Project, and I work for the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction.
Thank you, Alan. And we will get started with our slides, and we'll be able to tell you a little bit more about the structure of our team and some of the other members of our team as we get more into the content here. Okay, Andrew, you can go ahead and advance the slide. Thanks. So before we get started, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about our project and where our funding comes from, and then read a brief disclaimer, and then we will get started. So the North Carolina DeafBlind Project is a federally funded grant through the Office of Special Education Programs and is administered through the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction in the Office of Exceptional Children in collaboration with the Exceptional Children's Assistance Center, ECAC, and the ECU Teachers Support Program for learners with deafblindness. The mission of the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction and the NC DeafBlind Project is to assist educators, related service providers, and families to gain knowledge and enable children who are deafblind to access the general curriculum and gain skills and experiences that prepare them to successfully transition to adult life. As you see on the screen here, those were the logos for our three partners. And then when we work together, we call ourselves the DeafBlind Project as a whole. Thank you, Andrea. So the contents of this presentation that we've created for you were developed under a grant from the U.S. Department of Education. However, the contents do not necessarily represent the policy of the U.S. Department of Education, and you should not assume endorsement by the federal government. That's the disclaimer for our project. So today our participants will learn about the structure of the North Carolina DeafBlind Project, understand what supports are available to them, and also learn how to request support. Here on our screen, I have shared some images with you. This is our leadership team. We have Dr. Alan Chase, Virginia Madurin, Sherry Vernelson, and those are our partners that are housed at DPI. We have Sandra Warren from ECU, Eastern Carolina University. And then that is me, the ECAC part. And I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that our team is much bigger than this. We only had space on this slide to share our leadership team with you, but we do have very important folks that support the work that we do on our entire core team. And some of them may be joining us today for support. We do have Andrea Blackwood here in the audience, and of course, Nancy Gerardo, our family engagement coordinator. So here real quick before we get started with our content, we want to share this video with you. It is an overview video to tell you a little more about our project. Andrea, I am not hearing the audio. I think you might have to unmute yourself.
Assistance Center. The North Carolina DeafBlind Project supports children ages birth to 22 with a combination of vision and hearing loss or with degenerative vision and hearing conditions. Support from the project is provided to eligible children, their families, and educators at no cost. Deafblindness is the combination of functional, medical, or progressive vision and hearing loss, which may interfere with a child's ability to communicate and interact with others, access information, and/or move about safely and efficiently in familiar and unfamiliar settings. The type and severity of the combined losses differs from child to child and can have a significant impact on their development and learning. A child with deafblindness does not have to be completely deaf and blind. Many children may have a diagnosis such as Charge syndrome, Usher syndrome, sensory integration disorder, Down syndrome, or others. Support from the North Carolina DeafBlind Project can begin when the child is enrolled on the North Carolina DeafBlind Census. For more information about the North Carolina DeafBlind Project, including how to enroll a child on the census, contact any one of the North Carolina DeafBlind Project directors listed here.
Okay, thank you. All right, so at this time, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Dr. Alan Chase, and he will give us more information about our project overview.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brittany. So first, I just want to start off by building a foundation of what exactly is deafblindness. And so what I want to highlight here is that the definition of deafblindness in terms of the DeafBlind Project is it's a student who has any level of vision loss combined with any level of hearing loss. So a student does not have to have a total vision loss or profound hearing loss in order to be eligible. Any type of hearing or vision loss would potentially make them eligible. One thing that is really, really important to highlight here is that a lot of times our students have similar medical conditions. And just because a student shares a common medical condition doesn't mean that their vision is the same, their hearing is the same, or that their needs are the same. Each child is different. Their needs are different, even if they have the same type of condition. So that's one thing to really keep in mind. And we're going to dig a little bit deeper into that in just a second. One other thing that I think is really important, though, is we want to focus on what is the impact of the hearing loss combined with the vision loss. And so oftentimes what we find is that individuals, students who have deafblindness oftentimes have challenges or delays with their language, social skills, and their mobility. So as we mentioned in the video, the first thing is we want to look at the definition. Do they have deafblindness? they also need to be enrolled on the deafblind census. And one thing that I would like to highlight here as well is that when we speak of eligibility, eligibility is not the same as eligibility for your IEP. So, for example, a student who may have an IEP, they do not have to be under the category of deafblindness. Their eligibility on their IEP could be any one of the 14 disability categories. But if the student still has both a hearing loss and a vision loss, then they are considered a student who is deafblind. Next slide, please. Thank you. So here, this slide I think is super important. There are two images here that I think really illustrate the need and the impact of combined hearing and vision loss on learning. So the first one is a pyramid, and the bottom of the pyramid, the base of the pyramid, which is much wider, is incidental learning. And then at the top of the pyramid, we have direct learning. And the second image is an inverted pyramid. And on the inverted pyramid, the direct learning is at the top, where, again, the base of the pyramid is wider, and the incidental learning is at the top of the pyramid, or the smaller piece of the pyramid. And the reason this is important is because the first pyramid, where incidental learning is at the base and at the widest point, this is how most individuals, how they take in information. Incidental learning, meaning that we take in information from our senses and we learn it based upon the environment. So for example, sometimes we use our vision to observe what is going on around us, and we use that information to learn. We use that information to understand, well, what is going on? You might be in a space and maybe you miss hearing some directions. And so you observe, what are other people doing? And then based upon what those other people are doing, you then follow suit. So that's incidental learning. And so the smallest piece would be that direct learning. So this is direct instruction, meaning that you are specifically taught how to do something. And so this is how a person without combined hearing and vision loss often takes in information. Think about a young child, a 2, 3, 4-year-old, as they're learning and growing. They observe the world around them. They observe what are their parents doing? What are other children doing? And so that's how they learn. The opposite is true for individuals with combined hearing and vision loss. Because they have a concern with their hearing and their vision, they're not able to access that same information. And so for them, we have to be very intentional about teaching direct skills. We have to teach them exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And we have to do that using their other senses. And we have to use, we can use hands-on activities, we can use tactile learning, and other methods. But again, the big takeaway here is that our approach to learning is different for students who are deafblind. Thank you. So again, here's the deafblind census. So to dig a little deeper here, you must be on the deafblind census in order to receive supports from the North Carolina DeafBlind Project. The census is open year-round. A student can be added to the census at any time throughout the year. Again, the qualification to be on the census is that a student must have any level of both a vision loss and a hearing loss. And again, They don't have to be completely deaf, and they don't have to be completely blind. Any level of both hearing loss and vision loss. That's very, very important. And again, we want you to be able to reach out. The deafblind census is conducted through ECATS. And so if you have any questions around that, you can talk to your child's case manager, or if they have a teacher of the visually impaired or a teacher of the deaf, those would be good individuals to direct your questions to. Thank you. So here's just a quick overview of some of the supports that the DeafBlind Project offers to families and to students and their and educators. So we have educational training, and again, this is provided to the families of students, their teachers, and any service provider who may work with that student. One highlight here is that we do not work directly with students. We work with the adults who work with the students. We can provide assistance with developing educational plans and transition plans. We provide technical assistance, again, to school staff, and to students and their families, and that can be in the home setting or in community settings. And we also provide information and resources regarding making connections to other things that might be available. This could be other organizations out in the community. It might be some medical resources, or it might be services or supports that are available as part of transition once the student reaches the age of majority or they become an adult. All right, and now I'm going to pass it over back to Brittany to talk about family supports.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you, Alan. This is Brittany speaking. This slide just serves as a continuation of some of the things that Alan has mentioned earlier about what our project can do as a whole. As listed here, the project can provide on-site or virtual consultations at school, home, or in the community. We can offer resources and support and information that is related to the impact of having a dual sensory loss. If there are school teams out there that might need support, we can offer instructional strategies to address the unique communication and learning needs of the individual. And we have also been known to help with creating or sourcing specialized learning materials if school teams do need support with that. But more specifically on the next slide, I would like to share with you some information that is specific to the type of family support that we provide through our family engagement part, which is offered by ECAC. So these are some primary examples of the things that Nancy and I work on throughout the year. We can offer individualized support with your child's IEP, much like what ECAC can do for families, but this support is specifically directed to those with deafblindness. We do offer a quarterly newsletter that has upcoming events, training opportunities, and any new information that has come out in the field that we can find to share with families so that they stay up to date on any new updates. Biannually, the North Carolina DeafBlind Project offers a Parents as Collaborative Leaders training. This actually took place in 2024, so it's not going to be happening in 2025. But if you are interested in that training, it will be offered again in the summer of 2026. We've been offering bi-monthly webinar training opportunities. Don't worry if you missed any of those webinars that have taken place. I think for the most part, they've been recorded and posted onto our YouTube page. But we do appreciate if any of you are interested in joining our bi-monthly webinars. These are really driven by the needs of families, and we're responsive to that too. So if there's any training opportunities that families of children with deafblindness are interested in learning more about, feel free to share that information with Nancy and I. We often offer family networking opportunities. Some of those are through our in-person events. We will be having at least one in-person event per year. As I said, last year it was the Parents as Collaborative Leaders training, and we will soon be releasing information about what our 2025 summer or fall event is going to be. So please stay tuned for more information about that. We're really looking forward to sharing that with you all. Another thing that the North Carolina DeafBlind Project can do for families is we can sponsor families or parents to go to further training opportunities, whether that might be any specific training related to deafblindness or a conference to gather more information about your child's specific diagnosis and things such as that. If you're interested in any of those types of opportunities, please don't hesitate to reach out to Nancy and I. And also keep abreast of our newsletter that does come out. We try to include as many training opportunities as there are available so that families are aware of what the possibilities are and what they can attend. Alan had mentioned this a little bit earlier about what our team can do as a whole, but specifically for families, we can provide individualized support around the transition to adulthood and provide you with resources and information on how to support your child as they transition into life after high school. And so we're doing a lot of work around that right now and trying to get that information out to families in a timely manner because it is time sensitive. So if you know somebody that's in that that stage of their life, please feel free to connect us. So these are basically an overview of the supports provided by the North Carolina DeafBlind Project that are specific to families. I wanted to also include some information about where to find us online and some resources that you can actually access right now. Please know that this slide deck will be included in a follow-up email, so you should be able to access these links. You don't have to feel like you need to write it down right now. If you Google it, I think some of these might come up. But on ECAC's webpage, we have a deafblind section where we have included a number of resources that are specific for families to help them understand how to better advocate for their child's IEP and their needs within the school system. On ECAC's YouTube page, we have our previously recorded webinars that we have presented over the past year. I've included a link to DPI's website where they have further information and resources. Some of this is directed to educators, but it's also useful for families to be able to access this information. They actually have two different URLs, so don't skip over the second one because it also has really valuable information here. And then if anybody is more interested in accessing the support from the Teacher Support Program, this is the website for ECU's Teacher Support Program. Specifically, if there's a need for families to reach out and access that individualized assistance, or if you have any questions about the information that we shared with you today, I've included Nancy's contact information as well as mine. Please feel free to reach out to us via email. And that is about it that I have for you today, but I just want to sincerely thank you all for taking time out of your day to join us and learn more about the North Carolina DeafBlind Project. Any of our leadership team or Nancy and I would be more than happy to assist you and point you in the right direction if there's any questions that we can answer for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany.
There's one question. Oh, Andrea, you want to?
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say that.
There was a question about who do I contact for my 21-year-old who might need help?
That is a really good question. That's definitely something that we can support you with. I would say if there are any individualized questions about any specific person or someone needing direction, please reach out to one of us directly so that we can handle that offline and maybe share some more individualized support with you. But we can help with that. And I think I'll be able to access this contact information through Zoom. So if there's anything like that, then maybe either Nancy or I can reach out to you later today. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm sorry that I missed your question.
Thank you, Brittany. I was going to go ahead and launch our poll, but I don't seem to be able to do it. Can you, Brittany, see if we can launch our evaluation poll?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a little hard when you're recording to be able to access all of the questions. So I have the evaluation poll coming up.
There you go. Thank you. So if everyone can take just a couple seconds to complete our evaluation poll, the grants that we work on require that we report back to them that what we're doing is useful, relevant, and of high quality. So we appreciate your feedback. And if anyone else has any questions, we do have a couple minutes. We can take any other questions you may have. Feel free to add your question to the chat. And I will let everyone know next week on Tuesday, March 18th, we will have Amanda Berry with us. She is with First Western North Carolina. She will talk to us about an overview of their services and how they support families and individuals with disabilities. So please join us for that. And just give a couple more minutes for people to do our poll. I don't see any questions. Actually, I can't see the chat now, so if Nancy or Brittany can make sure there's no questions.
No worries. I am keeping
Awesome.
an eye on the chat now. I'm not seeing anything coming through.
Great. Well, I thank everyone for joining us today. I appreciate your time, and please join us again next Tuesday, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.